guess just going off of sort of what he was asking about alternative revenue streams, you've talked about getting more state support. You've talked about the emphasis on private donations, on different efficiency methods. But what do you see as being the most effective, I guess, long-term solution? Are we going to keep asking the state for money, or are we gonna have to rely more on donations?
I don't really know. That's a great question, and I don't know the answer. I mean, the best answer is to stop privatizing the support of the university and pay for the core the core programs, and then we'll deal with the research, we'll deal with the clinical care, we'll raise money for graduate fellowships. So, I mean, but this trend has been going on so long. It's 20 years. It's not, if we started in good shape and it was just a blip because of the bad economy now, but it is a blip, but it's a blip where you were going down like this and then all of a sudden you're going like this even further. I think long-run philanthropy can help, but as I said, most donors prefer to have the state support your core purposes, and then they add something special, something above and beyond the minimum. So it'll be restructuring your debt, it'll be philanthropy, it will be student fees, like it or not, it will be state support. I think those are the primary ones. I'm trying to think. I'm not leaving. Now, an indirect cost, getting a full indirect cost recovery. I mean, if you really add up the numbers, if we could get a couple $100 million out of indirect cost recovery, if our efficiencies add as $100 million a year, I mean, it really helps. The problem is it's hard to realize that so quickly. But so those are the types of things we're doing. What I don't want to see happen is, again, a 40-to-1 student-faculty ratio where we're not getting the best faculty. The current faculty are leaving for greener pastures, and then it's just a different university. But that could happen. That's the risk.
And in private philanthropy, we're not only looking at raising more unrestricted money, but we're also looking at models that take restricted money and convert them to unrestricted money. And I think the best example are the Hewlett chairs at Berkeley. I mean, this is something that's in a donor's interest. They want to support the scholarship and research of a professor, but the way it's structured, it also supports their salary and graduate student support, which gives some relief centrally. And that's the way private universities do it, and we have to start thinking more creatively in those lines.
I asked the UCLA spokesperson about if there are any specific strategies that the campus is implementing in conjunction with UCOB for getting more unrestricted funding, and he told me that there weren't any, but I was wondering if there were plans for specific strategies to work with campuses on getting more unrestricted funds.
Unrestricted philanthropy you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, the way it works around here, it was very different in some of my previous jobs. The fundraising is primarily a campus activity. My door is always open, so if someone says, I want you to meet with a major donor or whatever, I do that, and I meet with the alumni groups. So it is a campus-by-campus strategy, and each campus has a strategy. Indeed, UCLA, I think is, you have to double check me, I think raises more private funds than any public university in America in most years. I mean, it's over $300 million a year, sometimes over $400 million. Berkeley's pretty high up there as well. So there are strategies, but they're not UCOP strategies. The only thing that we have specifically sponsored is this $1 billion scholarship campaign, and all the campuses are participating. But all the warm bodies are on campus. In other words, the development offices are on campus. We do have discussions, and I'm not sure it would matter because, they say all politics is local. I think all fundraising is local in a way. So, and I think Chancellor Block has been extremely effective. Look at these huge gifts that have come into UCLA recently. So they have a strategy, and as long as they have a strategy and it's working, that's fine with me. We could be more directive, but I'm not sure that would pay off. And I meet with the chancellors once a month, and we do discuss these things. The problem is it's spread unevenly across our campuses. Some have more alumni, some have more tradition of giving. So a philanthropy strategy, frankly, doesn't help Santa Cruz as much as it's going to help a UCLA or a San Diego. I mean, that's just the truth of it. We also have been giving out some instructions. I used to draft these instruments, and I think some of these instruments are drafted too tightly for chairs and so forth, not allowing some of the money to go to the general coffers of the university. So we have been giving them advice about how to draft them, so that, and most donors will be flexible about that, so that we don't end up with, something that can only be spent on very narrow things, and some portion of it, like the Hewlett chairs, will be spent on general expenses of the campuses. So we have worked with them to, the gift instruments become critically important in creating unrestricted funds. And so we have been working on that. That is a strategy, I suppose.